with you as you step out into the world. Finally, just a few words. I want to reiterate what Pankaj said so eloquently, that keep in mind when you go out of here that you yet belong to this institution. You spent many years here. We treat you as family, and please look at this as your home away from home. Come back here, enrich yourself, interact with the faculty, maybe come back as faculty someday, but continue to see how you connect with the institution. Part of that connection must be also how you come back and contribute to the institution in cash, in kind, in many ways. Just bring in your knowledge, bring in your ideas, bring in what you can. But this connection should stay. Also keep in mind something which I like to reiterate to young people as they go out, that as you graduate out of here with pride and happiness, give a spare thought for those who made all this possible. Your parents and guardians, many of whom are sitting upstairs as you graduate from here, and their contribution. I think it's important that you think of that and not forget that as you go forward. Finally, the very best to all of you as you step into a new world. I hope you do well in whatever you want to do. I'm sure you will succeed, and I'm very sure that you will do very well and bring pride both to yourself, your family, and this institution. Wishing you all the very best and great fulfillment in all that you do. Thank you. It's my pleasure to now very briefly introduce our chief guest. I'll do that in just a couple of sentences. Mr. Sunil Munjal. All of you know of him, so as I said, no introduction is required. He's the managing director of Hero MotoCorp, a legendary company in India and now around the world. It's exceptional in terms of what it has done. It has flown the Indian flag in many, many countries and built in completely exceptional standards of excellence. For many, many, many years, I used to give the example of this company and this group as to what India can do when people talked of China and their efficiency, their infrastructure, their capability to produce something. And I said, here is one company that actually outcompetes them in many areas. It started with cycles, and they do many other things. Mr. Munjal has been the driver of this, not just in terms of the business part of it, but in terms of how the company moves forward, what it innovates, and how it does things. In a brief interaction with the faculty, he was just mentioning something exceptional, and I know just one other Indian company that does something like that, and something which some of you might carry with you, and I want to mention this both to students and as an introduction to Mr. Munjal. He's the one who pioneered this concept of not only awarding those who come up with great innovations within their company, the great innovators who come with great thoughts, but also to equally recognize at an equal level those who tried something exceptional and failed. Because it's important to try big with a good thought. It doesn't matter if it doesn't work, you gained a lot of experience. He was sharing this thought with us, which I think is very, very important. Mr. Munjal, apart from his corporate hat, where, as I said, he's been exceptionally successful, and most of you would have read and heard about it, I just want to add one more line, that it seems to me, though he may or may not admit it, that today his heart is much more in a different area. He spends much more of his mind share, if not his time, in a different area, and that is education. Every time I've talked to him and I begin to talk about business, in about a minute or two the conversation veers around to what the education scene is, the university that he's founded and is helping to set up, and the broader area of education in India. So I'm very sure that he's going to be one of the major players and contributors in education too. Given that background and the tremendous success he's had in whatever he's done, it's indeed an exceptional honor and pleasure today to have you, Mr. Munjal, with us. And it's my pleasure now to invite Mr. Munjal as our chief guest to address us this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Kiran. Mr. Kiran Karnik, Chairman, Professor Pankaj Jalote, faculty, members of the Board and Governing Council, parents of the graduating class, guests, administrators of IIIT, and the most important part of the audience today, the students, some who are here in this hall, and I presume some who are not in the hall today. A graduation day is always a special day for any institution, and more importantly, for those who actually graduate today. This is a transition that we all make in our lives. In some sense, it's a day like any other day. At the same time, it's a day which changes your lives almost completely. And part of it is because of what Kiran just said, that you will go into what is often called the real world from a somewhat protected environment of an educational institution. Driving in here was quite interesting. I actually did not know where the location of the IIIT was. And this is like an island. It's like a green island in the middle of this crowded place. And I was absolutely delighted to have the conversation before walking here. It's not just a green island, it's also an island of excellence that is being built in an area which is of extreme interest today to all of us as people, as society, as a nation, and for the world. You all exposed yourselves extensively to engineering and to technology. And we all live in a world which is dramatically changed the way technology is adopted, become part of our lives, and in some ways almost drives our lives. It's technology that allowed us to live much longer. It increased the population of this planet by giving you better healthcare, better medication, longer lives, ability to exercise with equipment. And now it's a larger population on the planet which now demands more of technology. There is a need for us to both learn to use and harness this technology well. At the same time, a word of caution that it will change our lives absolutely beyond our imagination. I'd actually brought a note with me which talked of technology and stuff, but when I'm sitting here, I'm talking to people who actually know much more than I do. So what can I tell you about technology? So I'm going to change a little bit of what I have to say, and Pankaj stole half my speech in all the comments he made. So, so I have to think up some new stuff to say to you. It's not new for us. We're an 8,000-year-old civilization. We'd actually taught the world about technology. We also taught the world about trade and commerce. If you think back, where did drainage, water supply system, water storage system, where did they come from? They actually came from India. The world's first university, the world's first multidisciplinary university, and the world's first liberal art university, all were in India. The world's first university which attracted peoples of different nations to work together was also here in India. And I don't need to go through the list because I'm sure you're all aware, whether it's the zero or the pi or even the button, by the way, these are all invented, designed, or discovered in India. And there are a whole host of others. The game of chess, although there's a competition, there are two other nations say that they actually discovered chess before we did, but I guess that's debatable. We've had a great history of discoveries, of intellect, of people questioning status quo. And I think that's a wonderful quality to have. Kiran just talked of the new university that we have just started. Actually, it's only 2 weeks old today. We have said there are 3 things we want to encourage actively. And I would encourage each and every one of you to also think a little bit about this. One is to focus on innovation in all that you do in your lives, everything. I don't mean only innovation in technology, but in everything that you do in your lives. Second is on impact that you will make on society, and I mean in a positive sense. And the third is a sense of inquiry. Question things. Can you help make things better for yourselves and for those around you? Can things be done quicker, better, cheaper, more efficiently, with less wastage, with more impact, more effectively? Or could we just completely change the rules of the game? And it's happening all the time around us, every single day. So I'll take a page from what Kiran was saying, that the new era of the digital age is actually only 50 years old. But what it's telling us is, the message is quite interesting. You know, there was an old saying that the only constant is change. Really, the only constant in life is change. But now it's not just change, it's also the pace of change that is changing. At a pace never imagined before. Who could have imagined 50 years ago the way we use communication and how it's changed social structure? It's not good or bad. Parents often complain, by the way, about the way kids behave socially now, or they interact with others around them. I don't think it's good or bad. It's just the new reality. And for all of us, and I'm talking the elder lot, who don't accept this, we will get rolled over. They're saying life is like a road roller. You're either sitting on the road roller or you get rolled over. And that's what's happening with technology. We need to be able to learn to harness and use technology for ourselves. Otherwise, there is another scenario building. And I would urge some of you to see this video. It's on YouTube. It's a 15-minute video that says, humans need not apply. Anybody in this room seen this video? Just one, two. I would urge the rest of you who are qualified technologists to actually look at this video. It's almost saying humans are actually not required any longer to do almost any job, including the most complex or the ones we considered the most intellectual, including jobs of lawyers, accountants, doctors, technologists, can be done by machines. We've made these machines. We've built into them, or attempted to build into them, the most complex machine known to man, which is the human brain. We've been trying, and this is for a long time. This is not today. Einstein was trying to do this, and many others around at that time. Leonardo da Vinci was trying to do this. Is to question our ability. Again, we are from a civilization or a nation where we've had sages, saints, wise people do things which people either